One of the things I wanted to do with this channel is kind of allow myself to do videos that aren't the videos that, that I would dream of, which, might be a sort of experimental, theatric, nature loving performance art or actual filming of video games and stories, Livio games, sorry. Um, But I'm realizing that I think part of the important thing about our sort of forest garden permaculture homestead project is that it's not the typical homesteading channel you'll see on YouTube where we're getting a lot of stuff done and we're really getting to self-sufficiency. It's been more about accepting that I can't always get stuff done because I've had a disability. It's called CPTSD, and my mind hasn't always been clear enough, and my body hasn't always been strong enough to get things done. So I think there's like a good perspective to offer, but because what I have been able to build is myself, and I think I've had a pretty interesting sort of healing trauma journey. So I just wanted to allow myself to be in that space and share myself in that way. And so something that's happening is that I have been getting more active. I had a definite turning point about a week ago. I did a TRE session. It's a form of therapy that helps you regulate your nervous system and is completely body based and has no talking involved whatsoever. And it definitely lifted me up out of freeze, which, for those of you that don't know, it's kind of like associated with, I would say, dissociation, numbness, cloudy mind, low energy, this kind of state. And it got me up, it activated me, but it activated me into fight or flight. So in fight or flight, as the geese are honking. In fight or flight, when you're there, it's not bad to be in fight or flight because it helps you get things done. But if you're chronically in fight or flight and you don't know how to relax, then your thoughts kind of follow along with your body. And what happens is that I'm getting a lot of ideas, but they're all very loose and scattered. And I can't get into that sort of more relaxed, creative flow state where I can actually think about a story to put these ideas in and put them together, or also sort of the narrative of the level, where I can actually think of a coherent level that takes a player through an experience. If when I refer to Livio games, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I will be talking about them a lot because they're sort of my personal project, and you can hear more about them in other videos. So yeah, what I've been doing is just kind of allowing myself to be in fight or flight without getting too worked up about it and knowing that's where I am. And I'm trying to get myself into a state of play, because play is what, in a healthy human development, healthy human upbringing, is what allows us to kind of harness fight or flight state and combine it with a social, open, happy, non-fearful state so that we can get things done. So play is a very, very big part of human psychology and life. So what I've been doing is just making random things out of hazel rods and other materials we have around, because I'm in love with land art, and it's going to be one of the main mediums that I'm going to use for creating these living, interactive, playable landscapes. To create these different levels and the aesthetic of each level, I'm going to be using not just the aesthetic, but also like the physical sort of, ninja warrior obstacle course part of the game. So yeah, I'm just kind of allowing myself to make random things and do them poorly, even if they're not as good as the images that I have on Pinterest. And I will link to my Pinterest if you guys want to check out what I'm being inspired by. And yeah, I'm just allowing myself to mess around with it and just like get a feel for having the rods in my hands and putting them together and having an idea and putting it somewhere, and it may not be the best spot for that idea, but the great thing about land art is it's ephemeral and these rods are going to rot anyway. And yeah, so I'm just going through that process of allowing myself to build while I'm in fight or flight state, and hopefully kind of getting myself to transition into like a more playful state where I am energized and wanting to do things, but I'm also focused, coherent, connected, in a flow state. I think you can catch my meaning of what I'm trying to say. So yeah, so like that's what I'm up to this past week, probably for another week or two or so. And there's some images here for you guys to get a feel for what I'm doing. And yeah, thanks for listening and thanks for checking out this vlog, which I'm thinking of calling Chronicles of a Traumatized Forest Knot, but I think there's a better. And then I thought of flog, like forest log, but flog is a word that has to do with beating and torture. So we'll see what this part of the channel ends up being called.